Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Just wanted to review some information from last week and also this upcoming week to come. So, last week we focused on a couple different areas that are somewhat interrelated. The role of a patient as a consumer in conjunction with family and patient focused care, patient centered care, and then also looked at marketing. So those two kind of go together mainly through this notion as the patient as the consumer. So patients having very patient-centered, team-based care is one, where the kind of where we're going in the healthcare industry. Some people are already there, some people are still working to get there. But then that notion of the patient as a consumer. So it's gone from a time where you just go to the doctor that is participating with your plan and that maybe your family went to or whatever, to now where people truly seek out providers based on what their specialties are, what their research areas are, how much it'll cost them, because there's more transparency in pricing now. So the patient is no longer just a patient receiving healthcare services. They're a consumer and they're buying your healthcare services, and we need to provide them with the adequate information so that they can make an informed consumer decision. So that was the focus of last week. Obviously, we had our discussion about marketing. We had our week 3 paper, which was about patient-centered care, and that's it. So in the quiz and whatnot. So week 4, this week we're moving into looking at technology in healthcare. So information technology, data analytics, knowledge management. Really just going to touch on a few of these topics. We obviously have additional information on these topics in classes 2300 and 2350, which are the concepts classes that kind of come next in the program, either if you're in the major or in the minor. But then also, we have classes on data overall. So we have you take 2 classes out of the computer information systems area. Some of you are probably already taking, I think it's INFS 1020, something like 1050, but it's a kind of an intro class. And then you take another class out of the INFS series, out of computer information systems, and then you'll take a class in data analytics with me, possibly with me. But typically I teach that class. I wrote that class, so that's my class. I'm probably not going to be teaching it on ground though in the future. So if you will be taking it in an on-ground section, I will probably not be the one to teach it. But in any case, there's a lot of information on technology in this class, and rightfully so. It's really the rapid movement of technology in healthcare, both in things like electronic medical records and those types of things, but also clinical technology. So, go back 40 years, and there were no PET CT scans. There were no electronic systems to store radiology images. There were none of those things existed then. And now fast forward to where we are, and everything is electronic. So much more clinical technology, clinical decision-making systems to help physicians use current research to make decisions on their patients, et cetera. So lots of great stuff. We'll spend some time talking about that this week. I also want to talk a little bit about precision medicine this week. Precision medicine is really about taking all of the information that the provider has about you, including typically genetic information. So, like if any of you have done the 23andMe or Ancestry.com, and how your genes may say that you're more predisposed to, to be of an average weight, or you're more predisposed to having celiac disease, or you're more predisposed to Alzheimer's, those types of things, all of that data, some of it very benign, like, that you may, you may have gray hair at some point, and some of it very serious, like carrying the breast cancer genes, those types of things. They'll take all of that data and combine it with your actual exam results, test results that you've had, and come up with a precision. And when they say precision medicine, they don't mean pharmaceuticals. A lot of people think that they're talking about making a drug that's just for you. That's not really what it is. I mean, that could be part of it, but it's really about being very precise, right down to the genetic level, about what care you receive, what treatments you receive, how you most effectively receive treatments, those types of things. So some information here about artificial intelligence and precision medicine, really, kind of a new field for us. A little bit about big data, which is kind of feeds into that as well. And then we have a discussion on that. So on artificial intelligence, big data, precision medicine, all of those, and specifically targeted to what concerns might you have? Are you excited about those types of things? But take some time to learn a little bit about it. The videos are fairly short, and then obviously, sorry to keep flipping back and forth. We have our readings and stuff up here as well. So let's see, what else do we? Oh, an infographic. So this week we have an infographic to complete. And so if you've never done an infographic before, which you may not have, it's really a one-page pictorial representation of information. So you're looking to take information about a topic, and you can choose from one of three things here: electronic health records, like one single aspect or whatever, like the benefits of, challenges of, etc. The future direction of information technology in healthcare. So if you have something like maybe you're really intrigued by the clinical decision support systems, you want to talk about that. Any aspect of future use of IT in healthcare, and then also use of knowledge management, which is it's really about like information governance, making sure that our information is kept secure, kept in a single place. Really about how do you manage, if you're a large healthcare system, like think of UPMC, and how much knowledge they have stored electronically. How do you manage that? How do you govern it? Policies, procedures, access, all of those kinds of things. So, but you want to probably have it either super general, so you can just say a few things about it, or very specific to a certain area, so you can say a few things about it. And you're going to make that pictorial representation. I'm going to flip over and click on one of these. These are three companies that provide free resources for creating infographics. I'm going to flip over to Pictochart here so you can at least see what an infographic looks like. So I will need to log in, sorry. This will take me a second. But so it's really about having that visual, especially for folks that are visual learners. So it's really about having that visual adaptation to. So I'll just click this one. This is one that that they have in their system. This is not nobody created this one, but so this was about privacy, and this is what an infographic looks like. So just general information about a topic, but given in a pictorial form instead of in a a narrative form, etc. So these are just some examples. You can come to one of these sites. So Easily, Venngage, Pictochart, all really great sites to use. If you are a Mac user and you use Pages, I understand that you can make infographics in there as well. I actually am a Mac user, which you can probably tell from my screen. I've never used Pages to make an infographic because I happen to like these, but whatever works for you is fine. In some instances, like I'm pretty sure it's Venngage, if you make a infographic in Venngage, you will need to save it in a certain way. So let me just show you here quick for those of you that may want to do this. Don't pay for any of these. These are free products. They obviously all will have an upgrade button and say, hey, go use our pro version, whatever. But you can very easily use these for free. So that's not a big deal. So I'm going to go to this one. Oh, it won't let me. It won't let me do anymore. I've done this so many times. Let me go to My Designs. So I'll just choose one, and I'll edit this. So when you edit something in Venngage, you can use one of those templates. I've used too many of them. That's why it won't let me use anymore, because there is a maximum amount you can do for free. So let's say I created this for different types of cognitive learning styles. So I'm doing this particular infographic, and then once I'm done with it, you'll see. Here, share. So to go to share, it wants you to upgrade. Don't worry about that. Actually, and to go to download, you can't download either. What you can do is publish it. And you can publish this. It's currently published, so I'm going to remove it. So this is what it'll look like. Once you're all done with it, publish it to their community page, and you can just name it whatever you want. It'll come up like this. You can click publish, and then here you'll get a URL. So give that, send me that URL in the classroom, like when you bring up the Dropbox where you would normally type in, here's my assignment, or many of you don't type anything in, you just attach a file. But there's a text box there. Just copy and paste this right into that text box and then submit your assignment. And then I can go and look at this because you click on that link and voila, there it is. So if you use Venngage, that's the way you'll have to do it. You cannot download a file. If you use Easily or Pictochart, I'm pretty sure you can download a file, but it is a low quality file or something, which is perfectly fine. I don't need an HD file to look at it. As long as it's something that I can see, that's fine. Or like I said, you can use Pages or whatever. If you are familiar with another infographic group, you can certainly do that as well. So let's take a look at the quiz questions from last week. So first question, marketing in healthcare has lagged other industries because, and I often get complaints about these types of questions, but it's important to choose the most correct answer when you're doing multiple choice and to read all the answers. So in this case, the answer was some physicians believe that it's inappropriate or even unethical. Consumers have imperfect knowledge about the cost of services. This constrains consumer decision making, and the characteristics of all buyers and sellers are not the same. So those are the areas that are causing or have caused a lag in marketing and healthcare. Obviously, some of these individually are also the same, but they are also correct. But this is the most correct because it contains all of the areas where we can see why marketing has lagged in other industries. So just be aware of these types of questions. There are a fair number of them across the course. So just kind of be aware of that and keep your eye out. Just make sure that you're reading all of the answers and choosing the most appropriate answer. Marketing can be defined as, so the answer here is all of these are correct. Activities to satisfy a customer's needs, advertising, promotion, and selling. Yes. Approaches to create and communicate, deliver value in selected markets, and marketing is 100% all about value. So you're creating marketing to show what your value is and why you are more valuable than your competitors. Advertising, promotion, and selling. Also, it's up in this answer too, but it's also correct. And activities to satisfy a customer's needs. Also correct. So these are all correct answers, and obviously, so our answer here is all of these are correct. Next one, direct-to-consumer advertising. So remember, I'm pretty sure in the text it talks about it. In my slides from the ground class, it talks about it as well. Direct-to-consumer advertising is problematic for the industry just because there are so many aspects that are negative. So direct-to-consumer advertising has received scrutiny as to whether it changes prescribing behaviors. It may induce appropriate resource utilization, and it may adversely impact the physician-patient relationship. So why are those things the case? Well, it's really all about, think about sitting at home in the evening watching television, and maybe you suffer from migraines. So you're sitting at home watching television and you see an advertisement for a migraine medication. Now, likely, if it's an advertisement for a migraine medication on TV, it's going to be a new med or a fairly new med, which means that it's only going to be able to be purchased in brand form because typically 7 years from the time a drug comes on the market, the first 7 years you can only get brand name, you can't get generic. And so it's going to be an expensive drug because it's brand new and it's a brand name drug. Generally, from a physician-patient perspective, it's up to the physician to decide what medications they think are appropriate for you. So, the concern is prior to direct-to-consumer ads in pharmaceuticals, typically physicians received information, and they still do receive information about pharmaceuticals directly from the pharmaceutical reps. Pharmaceutical reps will come in, they'll provide an educational discussion of some sort. Maybe they'll be speaking at a conference and docs will hear about new drugs. But in any case, they'll get that information directly, and then they, as the physician, can make a decision on the best med for you to take. When you have direct-to-consumer advertising, you've got that person sitting on the couch saying, oh, well, that migraine med seems better than the one I'm taking. I'm going to ask my doctor if I can take it. So it puts a kind of a strain on the physician-patient relationship, and it may induce inappropriate resource utilization. Maybe the drug they're taking is just fine. It's just not as fancy as the one that's advertised on TV, and so it's inappropriately. If the physician were to give you that new drug, it may not be. It may be considered inappropriate. And then also it may change prescribing behaviors because physicians are just, at some point physicians decide I just not going to argue with the patient anymore. If they want that drug, they can have that drug, as long as it's something that's appropriate medically. So all of those are things that you need to consider. And then obviously, direct-to-consumer advertising is defined as marketing directly to the end user of healthcare products and services. So that's what it is. So all of these here are correct. Which is an example of a business-to-business or B2B marketing. So B2B is what it sounds like. It's one business marketing to another business. So flu shots at grocery stores, no, because that would be, selling directly to consumer. Health insurance exchanges to consumers, or no, that's the consumer. Health club memberships to millennials, no, the millennial would be the consumer. So in this case, marketing EKG equipment to physician practices, that's business to business marketing. So the people that make that EKG equipment are out selling their wares to other businesses who use their equipment in the process of creating products and services for their customers. So that would be a B2B marketing example, EKG equipment to physician practice. Yep, I think that's it, and that is it. So any other questions this week, please let me know. We are back, as you can see here, back in the Flipgrid this week for our discussion. So make sure you're using that. And I think that's all I've got. So any questions, please just let me know. You'll see grades populating over the next week or so. As I'd mentioned before, my father-in-law passed away. His funeral is actually going to be this Friday. So we're still kind of dealing with stuff and travel and all of that. So hopefully, once we get past this week, we'll be back on track for normal grading timeframes and whatnot. But otherwise, if you have any questions or concerns, please just reach out. I'm happy to help. And I will see everyone in the classroom. Thanks.